Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're coming over from TikTok, then I'm so glad to see you again. And if you just stumbled across this, then also hi. It is January 1st today, so we are going to be looking at all 70 of the books that I read in 2023 and tier ranking them all. So obviously that's a lot of books. I'm not going to go like into depth about any of them. We're just going to be slapping them in a tier and we're gonna see what happens. We're gonna go in order from like the first book that I read in 2023 all the way to the last. We have it 6 tiers. I tried to do as few as possible, but 6 is what I ended up coming up with to rank these. So the first tier is Prepare to Be Sick of Me. These are like new all-time favorites, like books that I wouldn't shut up about. If you guys follow me on TikTok, then you're probably gonna know what's in there already, but again, like Prepare to Be Sick of Me, you're gonna see it again. Then we have Very Solid under that. These are books that could have even been a 5 stars, but they're just not like an all-time favorite for whatever reason. Then we have 2 tiers for mid. So we have one that is mid in parentheses would recommend and one that is mid in parentheses would not recommend, because I read a lot of books that are pretty mid. I want to say like maybe majority of the books I read would fit in one of those 2 tiers, but like again, some of them I would recommend, some of them I would not recommend. Then we have Not For Me, and this is just exactly what it sounds like. These are simply books that are not necessarily bad in my opinion. I just, like, they weren't for me. Like, I wasn't the target audience. Some of them, maybe I do think were, like, badly written, and they'll be ranked accordingly. And my last tier is I Wish I Could Get This Time Back. Like, I simply wish I had never bought this book. I wish I had never spent a single second reading it because it was that bad. We are going to also rank them like within the tiers. So I'll do like the best at the front of the tier to like the worst at the end of the tier. Okay, so we are going to start with Finlay Donovan is Killing It by Elle Cosimano. This is the first book that I read in 2023, and this was really cute. However, not like amazing. It has other books in the series and I wanted to read the rest of them, and then I didn't end up picking up any of them in 2023. However, I still think that it's a really fun read and I would recommend it. Then we have A Man Called Ove or Ove. Whenever I say the title of this book, somebody always corrects me and I'm still like not sure how to say it. But this is hard. It could either go in Very Solid or Prepare to Be Sick of Me, but I feel like I'm biased because the movie was so good, like made me actually bawl my eyes out, and I feel like I'm like thinking about the movie when I want to put it in Prepare to Be Sick of Me. So I don't know. I'm gonna keep it like at the top of Very Solid for right now, and then we'll see if I want to push it up. Then we have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin, which I think I'm going to put in mid would recommend in front of Finlay Donovan. Um, Girl, there we go. I think this technically was a very well written book. However, I don't really think about it that much, and I do remember like when I finished this book being like, oh, that was so hard hitting, I'm gonna think about that all the time, and then now I don't. Then we have If We Are Villains by ML Rio, which this is a hard one for me because it is so similar to The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I feel like all of the things that I really liked about Secret History, Your Villains has a number of those things, but it just feels kind of maybe like a copy of The Secret History a little bit. So that like makes me want to demote it, but I still did think it was really good. And I think it's better than Finlay Donovan, so it's gonna go in mid would recommend. We have Magnolia Parks, which I was not expecting to like this as much as I did. I've still only read the first book in the series, not for like not wanting to read the rest of the books, but I just haven't gotten to it for whatever reason. But I'm gonna put it in Very Solid because I really enjoyed that. We have Good Girl Bad Blood by Holly Jackson, which is also gonna go in Very Solid. These books are not like technically the best, but they're just so entertaining. Like whenever I have been reading one of the books in this trilogy, like all I want to do is go read my book, like no matter what else I'm doing. Like I have to get them on audiobook so I can listen to them if I'm driving, because it's just like you just really have to know what happens. Then we have As Good as Dead, which is the finale of this series, and this book was so good. Honestly, I think I enjoyed it more than Magnolia Parks, so I'm gonna put Magnolia Parks in between those two books. I have The Push by Ashley Ogeron. This is, I feel like, books I've ranked so far, which were all at the beginning of the year, were like really good. I feel like I had a lot of favorites at the beginning of the year. I mean, The Push was really good. It's probably gonna have to go there. I feel like I recommend that book all the time and I still think about it all the time. Housemaid, I don't think I would say that I wish I could get this time back, but I don't think that this book was at all that it's cracked up to be. I think Not For Me is a perfect ranking of this book because I know so many people love it. So for that reason, like I would recommend it to people and I have recommended it to people because it's just like such a huge book that if I'm genuinely trying to give someone a recommendation that they would like, then I will tell them The Housemaid. But for me, I was just like so underwhelmed by it. Like I do not really understand the hype, but yeah, not for me. Vicious, you guys already know. This was a reread. I've read this book several times. It's one of my all-time favorites. It's a 5-star. Vengeful isn't as much of a favorite for me, but like it's, you know, it's the sequel to Vicious, so it's still gonna be really good. I loved Malibu Rising. I read Malibu Rising on the beach, which was just like such an elite experience. If you guys like have any beach trips planned for later this year and you haven't read this book yet, I would honestly save it for that because I feel like it elevated the experience so much to like be reading about surfers and also be like sitting on a beach hearing waves crash. Like it was just the best. I felt like I was inside a YouTube like a beach ambiance video. LOL. But this is definitely gonna go on very solid, but the question is where. I really liked it. Like honestly, I'm gonna go there for now. Yellowface, so good. So good. Prepare to be sick of me. I absolutely love that book. I still think about it all the time. It's like one of the most unique books I've ever read, and I love it, and I love R.F. Kuang. I think she is like a genius. Okay, now we're getting into Throne of Glass territory. So the Assassin's Blade, I really loved. Where to put it? I don't know. When I think about this book, I think back on it like very, very fondly. Like I kind of want to reread it in a way that like I don't want to reread the rest of the series yet because I haven't finished it. Honestly, I think in front of Vengeful is a good placement for now. Then we have Throne of Glass, which it's funny because I'm sort of feeling like I like Assassin's Blade more than Throne of Glass, which is like just not what I would have expected for this, but I'm feeling like that's what's happening. So I don't know, but I still feel like maybe it's better than Vengeful. I don't know. I feel like the ones that I've done so far are kind of hard because it's been like months and months since I've read all of these, but these are just like my residual feelings about all of these, like thinking about them now. Monster Across the Lake, the ending really disappointed me. I really liked like the first 75 or 80% of this book. Like I was so into it. I thought the writing was so good. This was my first Riley Sager book and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna read all of his books now, like love it. And then I got to the end and I can't say what the trope is without giving away the ending of this book, but it was just like kind of felt like a cop-out to me. I don't know, I was disappointed. Then we have Happy Place. This one's hard because I did love this book, but like I didn't enjoy my experience reading it. Like it was very painful. Like I felt like basically every time I read this book I was gonna cry, and like not in an enjoyable way. Like sometimes you read a book and it makes you cry and you like love it and it's 5 stars because it like made you so emotional, but this book was just like it was rough for me and I don't really look back fondly on it and I don't really want to reread it, but it was good. So I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna put it there and I'm gonna stick with that. Well, maybe. Then I read my first ever Agatha Christie. I read The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, which was really good. Ending definitely would have gotten me if I hadn't read another thriller with a similar ending sometime in the past, and I can't say what book that is because then it would ruin the ending of this book. But this book I really suspect will get a lot of people. Like, you will not guess the ending. And I didn't guess the ending like up until basically as it was unfolding, like right before it was revealed. It was really good. I mean, think I think it should go there. Then we have Never Lie by Frida McFadden. I would recommend this book if you purely just want the feeling of like getting got by a thriller, of like you just want to be like surprised at an ending, because the ending did surprise me, but like that's really the only like positive thing I have to say about this book. I think I rated it like 2.5 stars. So honestly, I'm gonna put it in would not recommend unless you kind of fall into the category of like what I just said. I have Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. I'm gonna put it here. This book makes me feel really icky when I think about it. Which that's something I typically kind of do like in books and movies. Like I love Midsummer and Hereditary and like all those weird movies. This one was a little bit too like got under my skin, but it was really good. It was really good. Gillian Flynn, she deserves her due. I have Crown of Midnight, which I think I'm gonna go here for it because I think it has to be better than Assassin's Blade, right? And then we have Airfire, which is going to jump its way, to the front of this category because I loved Airfire. We have Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I was really not enjoying To Expect this book as much as I did. I actually finished it, like I picked it back up after I had DNF'd it in 2022, and I was like, let me just finish this book, like it's everywhere, I'm just gonna finish it. And I actually ended up really enjoying it randomly. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna put it at the top of mid would recommend because I see the complaints about it. I understand the complaints. Then we have Indigo Ridge, which like this is the perfect book for mid would not recommend. Again, a lot of these books are hard because like there's not a lot of books that I simply just would never recommend to anyone, because obviously books are popular for a reason, because like a lot of people like them, and this book is a popular one. And I know a lot of people this is like their favorite book series, but it just wasn't for me. I was just bored. But I'm gonna put her in front of Frida. And then we have The Fine Print, which this is another mid would not recommend for me. Again, some people's favorite series. I don't know if Lauren Asher is really gonna be like the author for me, but we'll see. Summer I Turned Pretty, again, this could be a fun beach read, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would just watch the show, honestly. Like, if we're being so for real, it's probably in front of The Fine Print though. The show is such a great adaptation. I mean, this book is really short, so like if you want a short read or you're just at the beach and like want those vibes, but then I say read Malibu Rising or like a medley of other books that are good to read at the beach. Because this one, I mean, it's pretty juvenile. Obviously, it's YA. But, like, I don't know. I don't think it's worth the time when you could watch the show. Oh god. Okay, now we have Fourth Wing. So, here's the thing, guys. I loved Fourth Wing when I finished it. Obviously, there was an insane amount of hype. We all know this. The more I have, like, let it simmer and like marinate in my subconscious, the more that I just don't think it's as great as I thought it was. I love Xaden as a character, but like if he weren't in the book, yeah, I just would not be interested. I felt like the world was kind of underdeveloped, which I know it's a 5-book series and like it's the first book. And I also just don't know about the author, really. So like realistically, she's going here. Okay, then we have Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Is that her name? I think it's her name. It's funny because I read Fourth Wing and Divine Rivals like back to back, and they were like the most hyped up books of this year. I really liked Divine Rivals better than Fourth Wing, and I'm gonna put it in very solid. I think I'm gonna put it over here in front of Vengeful because it's not going in front of Throne of Glass. We have Queen of Shadows, which I really, really enjoyed. I did think it was gonna be a 5-star because that's like what everyone has said about Queen of Shadows, and unfortunately it was not. But it was like a 4.25, and I think it was better than Air of Fire. Do I want to put it in Prepare to Be Sick of Me? See, I feel like Tower of Dawn, maybe not Tower of Dawn, but I feel like Empire of Storms and Kingdom of Ash would definitely be in Prepare to Be Sick of Me, but I haven't read those yet. So, I don't know. Um, this is hard. This is hard. I think it's just gonna go, I think it's just gonna have to go here. Plain and simple. Then we have Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. Ooh. Okay. I think right there. It was really enjoyable. I thought it was really different from a lot of the other romance books that I've read. And this is like overall I feel a fairly good rating. Losing It by Cora Carmack. This book wasn't terrible. I'm tempted to put it in this tier just because I do wish I could get the time back from reading this, just because like it just really wasn't anything special and I like basically remember none of it, but like it wasn't that bad, so I feel like I should just put it behind The Housemaid. It was like fine. It was a super short romance book, but it was not great. Yeah, here we go. Straight up here. Straight up here. Go here. Let's go there. I loved Love Theoretically, clearly, this year. I don't know what it was about it. I mean, I love like all the STEM romances that Ali Hazelwood does. This one just, something about it. I don't know. It was better than The Love Hypothesis, in my opinion. And I just enjoyed reading it so much that I feel like it has to go there. Ricochet. Ricochet, I'm gonna put like right behind Addicted to You. It was good. It's just, you know, the series is still like building up. Whatever. I'm gonna put The Only One Left by Riley Sager right at the end of mid would recommend. I just didn't love the setting and the atmosphere of this book. It just kind of made me like feel weird vibes. The ending was definitely better than The House Across the Lake, so really it's just like right in front of The House Across the Lake. Then we have The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which I did rather enjoy the series. I haven't finished it yet, but it's like a YA Criminal Minds-y series, and I think it should go right there. I'd recommend it. It's good. The Appeal by Janice Hallett. I really loved this. This was like a really interesting take on a mystery thriller. And I think I want to put it here. And then we have The Man Who Died Twice by Richard Osman. This is the second book in the Thursday Murder Club series. I love this series. I think the writing is so well done. I love all of the characters. Like, this was a 5 stars for me. Honestly, that just feels like what I should do. You know what I mean? Then we have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V. Schwab, which I really enjoyed this year. I thought it was really well written. So I'm going to put it right up there between Air of Fire and Malibu Rising, because it was a superbly written book, in my opinion. We have Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. Where does this go? I think it goes in between Ricochet and The Naturals. It was like fine, I think. Like whimsical and fun, but like just fine. Then we have Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney, which I'm gonna put in front of The Only One Left. I think it was better than The Only One Left, but again, like, it didn't rock my world. It's funny because like I always have this itch to read thrillers, and then clearly they're never like, they never like really give, you know? And then we have One Dark Window, which I feel like this is the book that I have literally not shut up about the most, so, but I don't want to put it in front of Vicious because I just love Vicious so much, but I didn't read Vicious this year. So far I would say with our current ranking, One Dark Window is the best book of the year within this ranking at the moment, because Vicious was a reread. Okay, Blood Sister Scribe. I wish I could get this time back. I can't. I want to love it, and I think this is an author's debut novel, so I feel bad putting it there. Really, it's more like a not for me ranking, but this book is long, and I just wish I had DNF'd it, is really kind of where that comes from. So that's kind of on me. The Near Witch. Genuinely, that is the worst book that I read this year. I love V. Schwab. Like, clearly, it's funny because my highest ranked book and my lowest ranked book on here right now are both by V. Schwab. The Near Witch is her first book. I just, in my opinion, I don't think it should have made it to the publishing stage. I don't think it was ready for that. It felt extremely underdeveloped, and the whole time I was like, what is the point of this? And the ending, it just was like, what? I didn't care about any of the characters. They were all like so plain. They just felt like mannequins. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna let that go. I love V. Schwab to death. That book, however, no. We have another V. Schwab, which was A Darker Shade of Magic. I want to say is gonna go right at the end of Very Solid. Um, it's it was like fine, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not itching to read the rest of the series. In fact, I really don't know if that is going to happen. It's on my TBR. I own the entire series. You know, I definitely, the characters were way more fleshed out than the Near Witch, but it just definitely wasn't as good as Vicious for me. Then we have All's Well by Mona Awad. It's hard to rank this book because it is just so deeply weird. You know, some people for sure would hate it. For me, it's really hard for me to get through. I'm gonna put it here, I think. Okay. Then we have House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. Oh, no, not there. Gonna put it right in front of All's Well. Then we have The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I loved this book. I thought it was so cute. Let's think here. I think it goes there. Then we have Payback's a Witch by Lana Harper, which was just another like cutie little witch book that I read in October. I'd say it's pretty mid. I feel like I keep putting things like right after Ricochet, but then we have The Serpent and the Wings of Night, which was really good. I definitely think this is a solid book. I'm trying to think about where it should go. I think we might like need to do some arranging. Like, I think Magnolia Parks needs to come up here a little bit. I think that's like kind of messing me up. And maybe we put the push in front of the appeal and move that like that. No, like that. Okay, I think that's better. Then we have Six Scorched Roses by Carissa Broadbent, which is one of the novellas in the Crowns of Nyaxia series. And honestly, I low-key preferred the novella to The Serpent and the Wings of Night. This is just like the best novella I've ever read, except for The Assassin's Blade. But The Assassin's Blade isn't a novella bind up, so I don't know if that's a fair comparison. Then we have The Raven Boys, which is just gonna have to go and Prepare to Be Sick of Me. This was also a reread. The Dream Thieves and Blue Lily, Lily Blue. I love this series. The Raven Boys and The Dream Thieves were a reread, and Blue Lily, Lily Blue I read for the first time this year, and I love this. It's a YA series, if I didn't say that, and it was fantastic. Then we have Two Twisted Crowns, which was the highly anticipated, for me anyway, sequel to One Dark Window. I really liked it. Not as much as One Dark Window, but I still really liked it. And I'm gonna put it right behind Addie LaRue. It was really good. But just followed some different characters when I was like really longing for like the first couple in One Dark Window. Then we have Grimstone by Sophie Lark. This was not for me. It simply was not. I don't know where to put it on this tier though. Maybe here. This was, I think, the first and only dark romance book that I've ever read, and this is totally on me. I should not have read this book. I should have like looked at more of the content of this book, and I think that I probably would have chosen to skip it. But I wanted to try a Sophie Lark book because I've heard so much about her. The writing was good. Like, I can see why people like these books, but I couldn't take the heat. So I'm getting out of the kitchen. I have The Secret History by Donna Tartt, which was a reread. I've talked about this book a lot on my TikTok, and I feel like it has to go here. And I'm sticking with that. And then we have the first 5 Harry Potter books. I'm rereading this series currently so that I can get to Manacled, which is a Hermione fanfic I've heard a lot about, but I wanted to reread the series first because it's been forever. I was a massive Harry Potter kid, so obviously it's gonna be in Prepare to Be Sick of Me, and honestly should be like first. I'm gonna put the first book first because I just have to. It's so nostalgic and like perfect, and separating the art from the artist in this one. We're buying these books secondhand because we're not supporting J.K. Rowling. Chamber of Secrets, like, not my fave. Prisoner of Azkaban, gonna go here with that. There we go. And boom. We're gonna stick with that, I think. Then, okay, we have Legendborn by Tracy Deonn, which is a YA fantasy that I really enjoyed. I read it about a month ago, and this was, I thought, such a cool book. I am gonna put it here because I think that it truly is like very solid. Okay, then we have The Will of the Many, which this book was so good. Like, genuinely, I think this is probably the best book that I have read this year that was not a reread. I'm gonna have to put it there. It's like almost too complicated to really go into detail about. Just now, it was so good. And then we have Wayward by Amelia Hart, which I just read this book. I really liked it. I think there. It was really good. None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. This was hands down my favorite thriller that I read this year. Like thriller mystery books that have a podcast in the book, I'm really a fan of. Let's see. I think I'm gonna put it here. And the audiobook was really good. I listened to it on audio. Six Deaths of the Saint by Alex E. Harrow. This is like a 30-page short story. I personally, like, I would not recommend it, but that's me. And then I have Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher as the last book that I read in 2023. And unfortunately, I am also going to put it in mid, would not recommend. To be fair to Thornhedge, though, I really was trying to, like, it's a very short book. I think it's like 111 pages, and I really was trying to reach my reading goal, so I like sped through this book in like an hour. And I don't really think I probably gave it the time that it deserved, but yeah, that's it. I feel pretty good about it. I'm sure like I could go back and like do some rearranging, but honestly, like, that feels like a good way to rank all of the books that I read in 2023. And I guess The Will of the Many was my favorite, and The Near Witch was my least favorite. That sounds right. So yeah, but there was every book that I read in 2023 tier ranked. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. I am going to be posting a lot more on here in 2024, and probably switching over a good amount of my content from TikTok to here, although I'll still be posting on TikTok. But yeah, I am so happy to see you guys here on YouTube, and I will see you in the next video.